It's the second race on the dirt in the last 3 weeks for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, the General Tire Grabber 100 at the DuQuoin State Fair. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Dillner. Jim Trado along with me. We're on the dirt, and we love it. And right now, it's a two-horse race for the championship. Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith separated coming into the event by 225 points. But is the dirt the great equalizer today?
It's hot, it's slick, and yes, it can be the great equalizer because there's 5 points paid per position. There could be a 100-point swing here today if Sheldon Creed falls out very early and Zane Smith does what he should do, win these races and get max points.
A couple of weeks ago on the dirt, trouble for Zane Smith, who was second in points coming into that one as well. Overheating issues for the number 41 driver for MDM Motorsports. He was mighty disappointed.
Do you feel like now it's out of reach, the championship?
Just about, if so, yeah.
And just last week at Berlin Raceway in Michigan, interesting times. Joe Graff Jr. giving a little nudge to Chandler Smith, booted him out of the way. And then Zane Smith and also Joe Graff Jr. racing to the finish line. A lot of rough racing there. What'd you think?
That's what, coming for the win. Joe Graff said, I need to get this victory. I'm going to pour it in there. Turn 3 is where I'm going to do it. He gained a lot on Chandler, gained a lot on Zane, and won the drag race.
And the results look like this after last week. Zane Smith finishing second, gaining some ground on Sheldon Creed in the race for the championship. That gave him some optimism here looking at the point standings right now. Still a lot of points between the two.
You know, 30 points, 60 points, 80 points. He needs 90-point differences now to really make a factor when it comes to the Kansas finale.
So for more on these championship contenders, let's go to the third member of our broadcast team on MAV TV, Dylan Welch.
Well, guys, the two championship contenders have had pretty equal seasons. If you look at the numbers, really similar between Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith. The difference maker has been the finishes outside of the top 10, though, for Zane Smith. 3 finishes of 16th or worse, including just a couple weeks ago at Springfield. Today, though, we're on the dirt. 2 guys that like this racetrack a lot. They've been fast all morning. Sheldon Creed just beat the track record in qualifying by over a second. Zane Smith with a little bit of work to do coming from the 8th starting position. But as we said, the dirt can be an equalizer. Great potential for that points battle to tighten up by the end of the day.
And Dylan, by virtue of that pole position, that General Tire pole position, a 230-point gap between Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith. The Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge also on the line here today. This is round number 9 of that points race within a points race. This is on short tracks, my style racing. 11 tracks, less than a mile in length.
Zane has scored more points than Sheldon on these short tracks, led more laps on these short tracks, and these best 10 race finishes could earn Zane Smith that championship. But he's got to do it today, Bob. As I talked about already, he has got to have a perfect day and hope for something to go amiss, even if it's 5 or 10 spots to gain on Sheldon today.
You're a smart man. Tell me the keys to today's race here at DuQuoin.
We saw some overheating issues at Springfield just 2 races ago. These teams have brought back the majority of the same cars. Keep that nose clean. And also the surface, it still has some moisture in it. The Silver Crown cars ran last night in a 100-lapper. That track slicked off. There's rubber being put down already. This track is the fastest it's ever been for these cars. And these restarts will be critical because I think that groove's going to narrow into turn 1 as this race wears on. Maybe a groove and a half here, wider in 3 and 4. So those restarts, getting a good run into turn 1 will be critical to get a shot at the win today.
7 drivers broke the track record in qualifying today here. Let's take a look at the CGS Imaging 4-Crown Championship race. It'll be decided here today, the final stop on this 4-Crown, and Zane Smith, not only the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge point leader, but also the 4-Crown Championship leader as well.
You know, with a win at Talladega and a win at Pocono, Zane is in the hot seat here, but again, we have to worry about the finish here today. It's still up for grabs. Sheldon's had some really strong runs. Chandler Smith is the only other driver to win one of the 3 races leading into this from Talladega, Madison, and Pocono in July, but it's the finish order that sets these top 4 drivers up for who could be the 4-Crown champion. Davey Allison, the first here in ARCA in 1984 to do that.
All Zane Smith has to do today to win the 4-Crown championship is finished 7th or better, no matter what Sheldon Creed does. There you see the cars lined up on the front stretch here. A mile in length is this DuQuoin racetrack. It's got a little banking in the corner. It's going to be a blast to watch all the racing action here today. But first, right now, we want to go downstairs for the very famous words in racing.
All right, race fans, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports, and here to give the command from Stearns Sales in Energy, Illinois, Jeff Stearns and family. Drivers, start your engines!
There you see some of the stars in today's starting lineup. Ryan Unzicker, a dirt late model veteran and winner from this area. He's definitely got a shot at the victory here today. Christian Eckes surprised everybody at Springfield with the win in his first dirt start.
Easy to say he's the only non-dirt veteran in the top 7 in the grid. He won at Springfield. Anything can happen here today.
Here is a look at the Scott Rookie Challenge point standings coming into this one. Zane Smith also leading this. He leads just about everything with the exception of the actual overall point standings for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Chase Purdy, 370 points. He's got a long way to go and just 4 races to get there if he wants to beat Zane Smith. The Scott Rookie Spotlight today on one driver, a man that has finished just about everywhere but the top spot. Chase Purdy looking for his first ARCA win.
A lot of newness in his life, a lot of new tracks. Springfield being the first dirt track. An oil line prevented him from a very solid finish. I expect this 8 car to be a factor today and gain in those rookie standings, Bob.
We'll be right back to DuQuoin.
The ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards, is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Hers, forever good. And by Extreme Cleaner, tough on grime, safe on the environment.
It's the final day of the fair. The DuQuoin State Fair here in Southern Illinois. The General Tire Grabber 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards here. And a good crowd filing in here. A late crowd getting here, but they are primed and ready for this ARCA race here today at this 1 mile dirt track. It's going to be a blast for 100 laps. The General Tire Pole Award qualifying held a little bit earlier today, and for the 4th time this year, our point leader Sheldon Creed on top of the heat.
And he did it in a big way. New track record and faster than anyone here, and he was the guy everybody was watching to see what lap he could turn. He proved them right. He was faster by almost half a second than the field.
Broke the track record by a second. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the NASCAR driver, actually had it from about a decade ago. But now the car is circulating around this racetrack, getting ready to go green flag racing here at this beautiful facility. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. We mentioned Sheldon Creed, Ryan Unzicker. He's going to be strong today on the outside of the front row.
I expect Venturini Motorsports to be heard from. Christian Eckes and Logan Seavey finished 1st and 3rd at Springfield. They're back in a big way.
Will Kimmel will line up 6th here today. He was the General Tire pole sitter last year here. He's looking for a good run, a part-time competitor, unfortunately, for the Kimmels this year.
Joe Cooksey, the dirt veteran, has run up as high as 3rd here. He's back there in a very good position, and Wayne Hickson's number 3.
We go a little bit further back in the field, and you see a good field of cars, and the caliber of drivers here today is incredible. You take a look at the top 15 spots here. Anybody in the top 15 can certainly have a shot at going to victory lane here today. And there are a couple of people that we're certainly keeping an eye on. You can see the Craftsman number 20 right there for Logan Seavey. And a Power Eye midget just 2 nights ago at Lake Ozark Speedway, he went to victory lane. And then he finished 2nd as well. So it's been a good weekend so far for the USAC and Power Eye midget star Logan Seavey in that Venturini number 20.
He is going to be in some very fast company here, Bob. I think this initial start, setting that pace early, we'll see who wants to stay with the rabbit. I think Sheldon Creed wants to lead every lap by a mile, meaning a whole lap. So that I think will be critical. Staying on the pace of Sheldon Creed early here, staying in that hurried pace. I talked to Ryan Unzicker before he climbed into his number 24. He said, I may not stay in his pace, but I also know we have a pit stop, and I can make some changes with my crew chief, Jeff McClure, on the box.
Jeff McClure knows a thing or two about setting up cars for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. For the 17th time this year, we are green flag racing here in ARCA, this time at DuQuoin. As you predicted, Jim Trano, Sheldon Creed jumps out to the lead, and he is hustling that race car around this racetrack.
Unziger is still not happy with going on the bottom end. He wants to see if there's anything in the middle or up. That's a dirt track move. Unziger has finished 11th or better in the last 5 races here. Top 10 in the last 5 and finished 5th at Springfield. So Unziger in that blue number 24, he may be the great teacher for Christian Eckes, who won the race at Springfield. His first time ever on the dirt. He said, I learned so much following guys early in the race. I learned how to adjust my car and get the speed out of it without scrubbing off too much speed. He's in that white number 15 JBL audio car, the car we see here. That's the winner at Springfield in his first ever dirt race. So Christian's still saying to me, just a minute ago, I don't know what I'm doing. Don't ask me what I should be doing. I said, you're doing it great. Just sell it like you know what you're doing.
I asked him today, I said, so are you a dirt track specialist now? He said, not at all. He says, I'm still trying to figure it out. He still doesn't know how he won that race at Springfield. Now the Kimmels have a lot of success here. Uncle Frank, a 5-time winner here at this racetrack. The most wins of any driver. His nephew, Will Kimmel, in that number 69, currently running up near the front of this field in that 4th spot. And he's a guy that needs a good run because he wants to run more races next year than he did this year.
Yeah, he finished 7th here a year ago, and he's got 9 starts now here at DuQuoin, a track not far from the Southern Indiana home. But more importantly, this driver does have an advantage, I think, on a lot of drivers here. He won the pole position last year, General Tire Pole Award, first and only in his storied career of over 100 starts. I think Will, in that fast diesel fuel systems Ford, is in the position now where he wants to be. He lost the motor, couldn't race at Springfield, but he knows he races better for some reason here at DuQuoin. I think it'll be a factor throughout the entire race.
So I got a question for you already, just 5 laps into this one. Sheldon Creed is on the mat. He is charging hard. Might it be too hard with the tire wear that we saw at Springfield here for Sheldon Creed? He's gapping 2nd place already.
Well, as our old friend Buddy Baker used to say, it's easier to pull a rope than push a rope. He's got to slow him down. And I don't think there's any slowdown in Sheldon's efforts, but we did find some tire blistering at DuQuoin. At Springfield 1 race ago. The left side tires are blistering. Sheldon actually went through an additional set given to him because of the blistering issue. I think this pace is too fast right now. I don't think Sheldon needs to be this advantageous and get that lead going, because what's going to happen in 15, 20, 30 laps when that burns off?
I think you're absolutely right. And we take a look at the number 41, comes into this one 2nd in the series standings. Zane Smith started 8th, has already moved up to the 5th spot. So Zane Smith, although this is only his 2nd time on a dirt oval, has a lot of dirt experience out west back in the off-road days. His family infamous with that realm of racing, just like Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, his dad is a very, very accomplished off-road truck builder. Mike Smith is really good at making the terrible Herbst trucks fast. Their Herbst name, Riley Herbst and Zane Smith, grew up together at the dirt tracks, and they actually won a race together as teammates in a Pro 2 truck out west earlier this year, so they like to play in the dirt every chance they get.
The Barstow 250, that's where Zane Smith and Riley Herbst drove to victory lane. Kelly Kovsky in the number 16. There's Logan Seavey in the Craftsman number 20, currently running 6th and 7th on the racetrack, but here comes Seavey.
Seavey had a very, very difficult practice session, albeit just 1 hour in length. They ended the practice by a car that was not handled. He said, I can't get on the gas. When I get off the gas, it plows like a truck. I need to get this thing fixed. He said his crew chief and he went together. Dave Liner said, I made one big change in that qualifying lap. Logan noticed the difference. He knows he has the car that he had in practice at some point. So they went back to that best laps they had in practice for the setup. Looks like it's paying off on the bottom. Not too many guys are able to pass consistently on the bottom to this point in the race.
For more on Logan Seavey, let's go to Dylan Welch.
Well, and you guys mentioned how tough of a practice session it was for Seavey. They had some bigger issues besides just the handling on the car not being what they wanted it to be. In the first couple laps of their opening practice, Seavey bottomed out going into the corner, and it caused some structural damage to the bracing on the inside of the left front wheel well. So they were working on that for the majority of practice this morning, trying to repair that bracing up underneath the left front fender. And then they were also shaving away the valence, kind of the front splitter area on that race car as well, just to try and give it some more ground clearance on this race car. So they think they got it all sorted out for now, and he's looking good here in the early go.
Yeah, Dylan, crew chief Dave Liner was down there beating, just pieces of that left front of the nose piece of that number 20, trying to get everything back on the race car. I asked what happened, and they said they just bottomed out, honestly. They maybe had the car a little bit too soft in the front end, and it just hit the dirt and just tore the bottom left of that nose piece off.
And one of the team members on Federated Motorsports that's doing a lot of fabrication work is 10-time series champ Frank Kimmel. And I asked him about what he did to prepare his driver's car. That'd be the 25 of Natalie Decker. I saw some additional bracing on the front end, and when the hood was up after practice, he said, that is there just as a reinforcement. Sometimes these noses have a tendency to sag a bit.
Look at Zane Smith go up to the wild blue yonder, out of the groove. He will relinquish a spot in the top 5 to Logan Seavey. Seavey charging hard, Zane Smith trying to hold on.
This could be deja vu all over again. He did this early in the race at Springfield. He went high and soon after found overheating issues that soured his day 2 races ago.
Kelly Kopsky also able to move by Zane Smith. A lot of wonder right now in the number 41 Zane Smith camp. It's do or die for his title fight here in the ARCA Racing Series. Welcome back to the General Tire Grabber 100 at the DuQuoin State Fair. Beautiful tradition here for the ARCA Racing Series for the 35th time. Now 17 laps into this one, coming this time by, and we have our first caution, Joe Graff Jr., who just ran the dirt car UMP style modified race here and finished 6th. Winds up looping it here in that Chad Bryant, number 77, with a nice sponsor on the right rear quarter panel, Rural King.
That was close for our race leader. We were showing Sheldon Creed go through the corner. You saw lap traffic to his inside. Perhaps had he not run Dakar at age 15 as a teammate to Robbie Gordon, he would not have had the wheelmanship to get around that. That's a very slick area. Not a lot of cars been running up in the mess. Did a nice job at just throttling out of the pedal, getting on the brakes, getting that car around the spun 77 machine of Graff.
Let's talk about Graff just a little bit, because it's been an interesting couple of weeks for Joe Graff Jr. The big win at Berlin Raceway in Marne, Michigan. A lot of people talking about his aggressive driving style to get that victory. We'll be right back here to DuQuoin. Under caution for the first time today here at the DuQuoin State Fair for the General Tire Grabber 100. And an interesting development for our second place point man, Zane Smith. Let's go down to Dylan Welch.
And Bob, they're just checking the tire wear just to make sure that there's nothing severe or more severe than they expected, and then just making sure that they had enough cool water in that race car that it wasn't overheating. You can see the grill, the mesh grill there on the front there is a little bit dirty, but they just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. Just kind of some preliminary checking being done on the 41 of Zane Smith.
So definitely a lot of just checking to see what was going on with that 41, but we did see a big chassis adjustment. That car, Zane Smith, has been slipping not to his liking, and I believe they are concerned over the fact that they did overheat at Springfield a couple of weeks ago.
And crew chief Marty Lindley's not afraid to change what his plan is. He's going to make that change because he has to. He wants to make sure that driver's comfortable. He wants to make sure this car does not have an engine issue like it had at Springfield. Bring that car in, get it right. He knows he has the speed in his car. Marty Lindley's brought a quality piece here. He won the K&N East Championship last year with Harrison Burton. He has that mentality to get after this championship. To do that, let's make a pit stop early, get that car right. We noticed he didn't change any General Tire grabbers, but he did make an adjustment in that right rear while they looked at what they could do to cool that car down under caution.
And the pit stop strategy is very interesting to watch, because we saw it really come into play at Springfield. Christian Eckes, one of the first drivers and first teams on pit road. We didn't know if the later pit stops would work better for like a Sheldon Creed and Logan Seavey, but it certainly paid off for Christian Eckes with his first victory there on the dirt just a couple of weeks ago.
And we'll find out, because one of the drivers that came down pit road, Gus Dean, did take on 2 new right side General Tire grabber tires, so we'll see how that may play. That'll be an attention grabber, with the rest of the teams wondering how good would that be. What is the difference on that fresh right side this early in the race, and how long this next green flag segment may run?
I like what you did there too. General Tire grabber, it's going to be a grabber. I get it, absolutely.
Attention.
There is Gus Dean, and Dean with the big win at Elko Speedway in Minnesota a couple of months ago, and that has propelled him to a lot more confidence, honestly. You know, he's getting used to this dirt track thing. He finished 3rd in this race 1 year ago, but he's starting to like the dirt tracks just a little bit more.
And he only spent from the age of 5 to 12 at dirt tracks every weekend, running 4 to 6 classes in dirt karts. He is a 5-time state champion in South Carolina, 2-time tri-state champ, 2-time national champion, 40 races a year on the dirt. But he said it's been a long time. Been a long time. He still wants to drive it like a dirt late model. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, Gus gets to go from the dirt back to the pavement next Friday night, September 7th, 9 p.m. Eastern at Lucas Oil Raceway. That place is a blast. A lot of tradition there for the ARCA Racing Series, as well as many other series. Silver Crown cars going to be running on Saturday night with the super late models as well. Just an unbelievable week of racing around Indy.
And that race is on the calendar of a lot of these racers. What a great short track in Indianapolis. Join us, please, in person. If you can't, join us here on MAP TV.
Just got an update on Christian Eckes. Officials have granted that team one more general tire because he did have some blistering on that tire, and that was the agreement. If they saw that, they would analyze the situation and possibly give them another tire. Christian Eckes received that. Back to green here in the first turn. Sheldon Creed back to the point. He, Ryan Unzicker, and also Will Kimmel did not pit in that pit stop sequence.
Yeah, the only cars that did pit were Christian Eckes, Chase Purdy, Natalie Decker, Gus Dean, and Tommy Vine came down pit road twice. But Will Kimmel wants something to say about this. He got the door squeezed closed on him in turn one half a lap ago. So he could hold third here in that red number 69 Ford.
Yeah, Will Kimmel, this race means a lot to him here in Salem in a few weeks. Very important racing for the Kimmels to prepare themselves for 2019. And he definitely has a shot at not only the victory, but definitely a top 5 finish here today.
And he's got a lot of pressure on him because he's got young drivers that have Toyota involvement, like Logan Seavey, so good in the open wheel cars. He's getting a chance. Tanner Thorson also got that same chance. Now he's racing in the Camping World Truck Series with Young Motorsports. There's different agendas here. Will feels that pressure as one of the long-standing drivers that can do well. The funding's in place. Will is a contender at many, many of these racetracks.
Yeah, look at Riley Herbst in the NOS Energy Drink number 18. The driver for Joe Gibbs Racing has had some difficulty on the dirt tracks last year in this. He moves to the inside of Kelly Kovsky, but Kovsky goes pretty high, slides up around the corner. That opens up the door to give the spot for Riley Herbst.
Kelly Kovsky is still getting used to these race cars. He only ran 4 modified races this year, and it's been a full 18-month recovery process for Kelly. It's a great feel-good because Kelly's back in the race car where he wants to be. He's racing in his home state. He said earlier, the pressure's on me, guys. I need to get that rust all the way knocked off. Running these cars on these mile tracks, I need to do better as a driver in that 16.
Kovsky second in this race a couple of years ago. Chase Purdy trying to make his way through the field. Qualified in the 12th spot. He was not happy with that at all. Currently running 7th. But he told me today, he said, honestly, this track is so much more fun. You see Logan Seavey kind of get it sideways. He said, you can be more aggressive on this racetrack than you can Springfield.
Well, the beauty is Will Kimmel's in where he wants to be, but in that mirror, he sees Logan Seavey, who's had a lower stance on the racetrack. So as those tires wear and the grip widens, Seavey's putting more pressure on perhaps than Will Kimmel would like at this point in the race.
Still 74 laps to go here as Sheldon Creed continues to set a torrid pace.
Welcome back to DuQuoin. Some exciting news, Bob. ARCARacing.com is going to have a whole new look starting tomorrow. The website relaunch will have live timing and scoring every time the cars hit the racetrack. And I love the fact it's customizable. It's called ARCA for me because you can click on what interests you. Do you want to see stories about your favorite driver, your favorite track, and interact? You can see videos not only of what happened last race, but if you really enjoy what's going on, sign up, be part of the community. There's subscribable information. If you love a certain driver, there's Twitter feeds on there. You can just go to ARCARacing.com starting tomorrow with a brand new ARCA for Me launch. I'm looking forward to it.
I am excited about it as well, but I know Gus Dean is not excited about what just happened to him on the racetrack. He was looking for a very good finish here. Finished 3rd at DuQuoin last year. Let's take a look at what happened to Gus Dean, and you can see that's a little bit of the aftermath of what happened to the Gree Baker Distributing number 32 on the racetrack.
Can't really determine what happened there. We do know he pitted for tires, right side tires, the only driver that we're aware of that changed to right side tires. So between that and perhaps the aggressiveness he could feel in that fresh grip may have cost him to get a bit out of the groove. We didn't see any other car near him in that replay or as we watched it out the window here at this racetrack. But here come the leaders. This is an important caution. Gus Dean, unfortunately, not part of the plan going forward.
29 laps into this one, and now the first stop of the day for the race dominator, Sheldon Creed. Let's go down to Dylan Welch.
And Sheldon's been complaining about the car being just a hair loose, so they're going to take a round and a half out of the right rear, change right side tires, as well as taking on Sunoco fuel. Sheldon wanted them to take a look at the left side tires just to check on how they're wearing. They decided not to do that, just to take right sides and hold on to their lead.
And Dylan Sheldon's got the best spot in the house, that first pit spot that Austin Terrio used to his advantage last year to win this race. Zane Smith in that number 41, you can see the hood up on that race car, so you got to believe you see the water hose right there. They got it hooked up to the cooling system on that race car. Maybe some overheating issues on the 41 of Zane Smith. He needed Jim to come out of this race with an advantage or gaining points on Sheldon Creed to have any shot at the title with 3 races to go when we leave the state of Illinois.
You know, they had an undetermined motor issue at Springfield, and I mentioned earlier today, got a little bit high on the racetrack, got a lot of that loose dirt and soil up in that grill area. They've got a number of screens protecting the air intake below the word Camry on the nose there of his number 41 machine. But as he went high, soon after that, they brought the pit road and put those cooling lines in. He said the temp only got to 220 at Springfield, but those motor issues, they didn't know exactly what it was. They put a new power plant in for today. Same issues, it appears, that they had 2 races to go on the dirt.
Yeah, Marty Lindley said it went from 170 to 220 within like a lap. So they weren't exactly sure of the diagnosis for that problem. And today we've seen them twice on pit road up underneath the hood, also making a huge chassis adjustment on the right rear on the first stop. So Zane Smith has already been down pit road twice. Joe Cooksey with an 11th place run at Springfield, Illinois a few weeks ago. Is a guy with a lot of success here, honestly, and we're looking possibly for a good finish for him. Joe Cooksey, 13 top 10s here at this racetrack.
Yeah, 5 top 5s, and he's really looking to contend here. He got a lap down early already, though, but he said to me earlier today, I'm not about winning the first 20 laps. I want to make sure I'm there in contention. Last race at Springfield, he got a bit off the pace, still finished 11th with a strong, consistent run. He wasn't about being the fastest guy on the racetrack.
There's the 41 car of Zane Smith. Dylan, what's going on with Zane and that team?
Basically, the problem, Bob, is just they can't get the car to hold water. That's what their issue that they're fighting right now. So they came in there and wanted to try and make sure that he stayed on the lead lap. So that was their concern when they got him out early the last time by. They didn't get it with enough water that first stop like they wanted to. So they thought about bringing him back down here to try and make sure that they could get enough water in there to hold at least until they can get back down again on pit road. But that's the problem right now. The temperature is already back above 250 degrees, and here he comes again to try and make sure they can just try and get as much cold water in there as they can.
Third stop of the day for Zane Smith, and that's going to be a big problem. He's going to have to do this continually to get the water in the system, to cool down that engine, to try to make it to the end. But honestly, this is just major league trouble for a guy battling for a championship.
Shout out to Ilmore as well. The gentlemen in the red and gray fire suit, they are here. They are supporting the ARCA Racing Series. They've added the NT1 engine platform in the NASCAR Camp World Truck Series. They are in the middle of it. They are here for the teams. They're here for the racers. Great to see Ilmore right on top of what they can do to help each and every team here in the ARCA garage.
You know, you talk about this place with the dirt being the great equalizer. This is an interesting place. Built back in 1946, the first automobile race in 1948. 1 mile in length. This is the original Magic Mile. Just over 18,000 is the seating capacity at this racetrack. It's not completely flat like Springfield, and therefore you got a couple of grooves of racing.
And as tempted as you may be to race the small oval, you need a sprint boat to do that. It's about a 3-foot boat and about 35 feet wide. Let's go 4 wide with sprint boat racing here. That'd be kind of fun.
We've been racing here in the ARCA Racing Series, at least not on boats, since 1983. Today's race 100 laps in distance. And this race has actually gone back and forth between a lot of different amount of laps. 200 laps at one point, down to the 100 laps that we see right now.
Pressure here has been on Zane because he's not been on the dirt tracks before. His only other start in the series, as we see the stats, Sheldon Creed has that advantage. He's raced at DuQuoin in Springfield a year ago, raced to a second place finish just 2 races ago. Zane had those issues, finished 17th. Riley Herbst finished 16th in both of his dirt races, a top 10 this year, but he's struggling today again. And Chase Purdy, verdict is still out on him. He had an oil issue at Springfield. He's a young driver that pitted early as well. So Mark McFarland and that driver, they were worried about their engine even in qualifying because they hit the chip way before the flag stand. So they're trying to monitor and manage what they can do to stay in 4th and gain some points on everybody else because, again, this is still the equalizer. This dirt track can prove a lot of things to a lot of people. Hey, I know how to run on the dirt. checkmark Christian Eckes, but also I can maintain or gain on points no matter the track surface. That's the great thing about this challenge of this dirt track at this point in the season.
And you might ask yourself, if you're not a dirt track racing fan, what are these cars doing all over the racetrack during a caution period? And what they're trying to do, cool those tires just a little bit, get up into the outside part of the groove, just over what would be related to as the cushion here. There's really not much of a cushion, but get it out there into some of the dirt that is not being used on an every lap basis, and they're trying to cool those tires. There you see the green team for Gus Dean. A major disappointment for him. He was telling me yesterday he actually went out and had some Chinese food and got his fortune cookie. And his fortune cookie read, "Keep up the hard work, you will be rewarded within the month." Well, that reward certainly not coming today for Gus Dean. Hopefully, maybe when we get to Lucas Oil Raceway, it'll pay dividends for him.
Natalie Decker currently in the 6th position. That red and white Toyota. It's only her 2nd ever dirt race. She spent a lot of time to get to Springfield to race. She got there in time to qualify and race and finish 10th. This past weekend, she raced 2 races in the same day. Raced at Berlin after a short jaunt from Trans Am debut at Road America. What she do between then and now? She went to Europe for a couple of days and came back in time to be here at the Fairgrounds in DuQuoin.
Natalie Decker, the biggest mover so far in this juncture of the race, up 7 spots.
Must
from
be all
her.
those frequent flyer miles.
That's right, 13th place starting effort. She said, it was much nicer being here for practice here. She missed practice because of a canceled flight when she was on her way to Springfield a couple of weeks ago.
Picking up really a lot of pace. Her crew chief for the last couple races has been Frank Kimmel. He's been the steady voice on the radio, talking to her during practice sessions, getting her comfortable. She said this track's way different than DuQuoin. The shape's different, how to race it's different. And Frank said she's adapting, but she's going to have to learn through this race how to race this tricky 1-mile racetrack.
Some interesting side-by-side battles there from about 4th or 5th on back on this racetrack. And actually see one going around. It's Joe Graf Jr. for the 2nd time today. Trouble on the racetrack. The most recent winner in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. And that is some major damage on the Rural King, number 77 for Chad Bryant Racing. Oh, we're going to clean this one up here. We'll see what happens with Joe Graf Jr. if he's able to get back out there. But major damage here. 36 laps in this 100-lap race at DuQuoin.
The ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards, has been brought to you by Sioux Chief, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products. God Comfort Plus, tested for strength, built for comfort. And by Power Stop, performance brake upgrades for just about anything you drive. Visit powerstop.com.
I've been witnessing some high-tech equipment there to try to repair the number 77 Big Time machine for Chad Bryant Racing and Joe Graf Jr. A baseball bat trying to get some clearance from the front fenders to the tires so he's able to continue. Let's take a look at what we have of it right here. And there you see, don't know if there was contact with Zane Smith, but definitely Joe Graf Jr. going around right in front of the man that sits 2nd in the point standings.
Yeah, bad break for Joe. 2nd spin on the day, but again, that damage, he did go around. He got to the pit road, got things fixed, but Zane Smith also used this to take advantage and get down pit road again, too.
And I will just say that those two did not see eye to eye after Berlin, the last race last week, when they were battling for the win. Zane Smith was not a happy camper at all, and that's an understatement, honestly, with Joe Graf Jr. There is Zane Smith. Dylan, what's going on with Zane Smith? What's that team telling you?
Well, obviously, the water temperature issue has been something we've talked about already, but they think now that the gauge may be faulty because they came back in that last time, pumped some cold water into it. The water they took out, they said, was not as hot as what Zane was saying it was reflecting on the temperature gauge. And then he pulled back out onto the racetrack, and by the time he got from the pit road here on the front stretch to the back stretch, it was already up above 270 degrees again. So crew chief Marty Lindley has been on the radio with Zane and just has basically told him to ignore the water temperature gauge unless it really starts to push out some water out of that overflow there on the top of the hood. So certainly something that we'll monitor and the team will monitor as well. But for now, now they think that the gauge is maybe just a little bit malfunctioning, and they told him to just run it and try to ignore that water temperature gauge the best he can.
Literally, it'll be a burst of steam at the base of the right side corner of the windshield, right above that ARCA decal. There's a overflow spout really that lets the water out in a safe area. That's the eyeball indicator if the gauge doesn't work.
And that's possibly a good sign for Zane Smith, Marty Lindley, and that MDM number 41 team. Maybe a faulty gauge. Maybe they don't have to worry about it. Now they can just worry if they see, like you said, some water, some steam coming out of that overflow. But right now it appears like Zane Smith is okay, and now he'll be able to charge and go after this championship once again. The problem is the championship leader is now leading this field to the green once again. Sheldon Creed has crushed the competition so far.
Well, his next challenge will be Logan Seavey, the outstanding open-wheel racer from California, getting the chance of Keith Kunz Motorsports to really excel and become one of the front runners in the who is the next driver to get the opportunity. We'll see this black number 20, Craftsman Toyota from Venturini Motorsports, on the outside of Creed, give him the challenge. Logan said, I had a great chance to win at Springfield, but got stuck in the pits. He came out behind Sheldon Creed on this most recent round of pit stops, and we'll tuck it behind him earlier. But the black 20 of Logan Seavey now is up to task. How much does Sheldon Creed have on the field with a very fast Toyota behind him?
Saw a little contact between two buddies, Christian Eckes and Chase Purdy on the racetrack, almost 3 wide going into the corner here with Purdy, Eckes, and another car. I believe it was Kelikowski. Indeed it was, but there's a little damage now to the left front fender, the nose piece of Christian Eckes' machine. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that, just like we're keeping an eye on the battle for the lead beginning to brew here. We saw these two go toe-to-toe for many laps at Springfield a couple of weeks ago.
Talked about how finite this line can be. Well, guess what? Our friend Ken Schrader stopped in a bit ago. He said, I've never seen the track this wide. Never seen this much racing surface at DuQuoin. So credit the Track Enterprises people. And this is ability for these dirt track racers, Sheldon Creed and Logan Seavey, to go searching. Where is the traction? Where can I find grip? This is the 13th time that Kelikowski's been on this racetrack in an ARCA car. This is kind of a cool setting here. Let's get some long green. Let's get this track widened out. Let's let these racers do their thing.
And a big congratulations to old Schrader, too. Still getting the job done. Another victory here at DuQuoin. 6 times now a winner at this racetrack. He won the dirt car UMP modified race just prior to this ARCA race. Here comes Eckes back on the inside, 43 laps into this one. Kovsky had that 6th spot, but now it's owned by Christian Eckes.
And this is the battle between Eckes learning and Kelikowski trying to conserve, stay within reach, stay within the realm in there, the number 16 machine. Crew chief today by Grant Enfinger, his close friend who came back to be on the pit box. Yeah, the same Grant Enfinger that races full-time for ThorSport Racing, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, back with his buddy, back on the dirt. And by the way, they reversed roles a year ago, and that paid off with a victory here in the dirt in ARCA.
Absolutely. Grant Enfinger getting the job done last year at Springfield. And, you know, I asked Grant, I said, do you know what you're doing? He goes, no, not really. And I don't buy that for a minute, because that guy is a smart guy. He knows the mechanical side of racing just as good as he is a driver behind the wheel.
And really, Kelikowski provided him the skills. He gave the skills to Grant back in 2011 when they raced for All-Gary Motorsports out of Springfield, Illinois. Finished 4th in points with Kelly as the crew chief. And what did Grant do at Eldora? He lost by a foot in the dirt race in the truck series. So he credited his ARCA racing. Really, he and Kelly have a special bond. Great to see it play out here back on the dirt where Kelly is most comfortable.
I wonder if Natalie Decker is starting to get to like this dirt thing just a little bit more. This is only her 2nd stock car oval dirt race, and just as I say that, she gets up and out of the groove and makes contact with the wall up in between turns 3 and 4.
4th caution of the day, Bob, and unfortunately she just got in the loose stuff. Again, that line looks to be wide. It's so inviting on the blackening, widening surface. That N29 Capital Partners Toyota went around, and we'll take another look here. She's trying to get close to the 06, but can't get down close enough to try to stay in the groove.
That was a little bit difficult, and that was a learning experience for Natalie Decker right there. She's trying to make her way around Buck Stevens in the number 06 right there, and got in pretty hot for that outside groove. Just put those right side tires out of the groove and spun around.
She had no left front fender at Daytona after winning the pole. She came back to 5th. They're going to get to work here.
We'll be right back. You gotta love the fair, the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds here in Illinois, a tradition here in this part of Illinois for a long time. The fair has been going on since 1923, but since 1983, the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards has been running here at the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds. And here's what happened just moments ago here. Sheldon Creed giving up that lead coming down pit road to take tires. It was a 4-tire stop for Sheldon Creed.
Fortunate enough as it was, as he came down pit road, he's got that great first pit stall. Again, these pits were decided via owner's points. We also saw Zane Smith coming on pit road as well as other cars, including the number 18 Riley Herbst and the 10 of Tommy Vi. But this pit stop, free and clear, was good. Afterward, they saw the tires. They might have an issue there in the 28 pit, but he got out right after Logan Seavey changed his 4 with Federated Motorsports in that 20 machine, beating out the race leader.
Track position very critical. It's tough to pass here at DuQuoin. So now Ryan Unzicker, who actually stopped once already today for 2 right side tires, now leading this field, the dirt late model giant from this part of the country. 7 times a winner on the dirt late model realm around this part of the country. Already in 2018 is now going after his first victory, and he's seen some success here at DuQuoin.
8 times racing with Bill Hendren Racing, and I'm telling you what, Ryan Unzicker finished 4th here last year, 5th in 2016, 9th in 2015, and 7th in 2014. More importantly, last year he finished 4th after leading 7 laps. They thought they might have run him out of tires. He has had 1 set thus far, and now he's getting schooled on the restart by this dirt second-timer. Travis Braden showing some prowess here in the white 27.
Oh, we got a car way up the racetrack. Is that Zane Smith? Indeed it is, in the 41. I don't know where he was headed, but he was headed there in a hurry. But how about Travis Braden? Shot out of a cannon and by Ryan Unzicker. You know, listen, Travis Braden, we know that he's very good on the pavement scene, a 2-time ARCA CRA Super Series champion, a former Winchester 400 winner. But like you said, this is only his 2nd race ever on the dirt, and he finished top 5 at Springfield a couple of weeks ago.
Surprising in 2 factors, yeah. Fourth place 2 races ago, but surprising how good he got on the restart. Knowing Unzicker has got so much experience on the dirt, but Travis took advantage, got a great run from the flag stand of turn 1 to get that lead away.
Travis Braden up front, riding a streak of 7 straight top 10 finishes here in ARCA. He leads the field just past the halfway point. Halfway through this one here at DuQuoin, the DuPont Protect Plus mid-race recap. Sheldon Creed and Ryan Unzicker on the front row for this one.
And when it came down to it, it was a matter of Unzicker trying to get the advantage on the car that's been the fastest all day. The General Tire pole winner had a very strong 4.5-second lead here early on. Before this incident, Gustine shuffled the order.
Gustine with a wrecked front end to that green number 32 came into this race 6th in the point standings. Plenty of wild racing. Take a look at this. Maybe contact right there, not exactly sure, but for the 2nd time today, the Rural King number 77 trouble for Joe Graff Jr., the most recent winner in the ARCA Racing Series. Sideways is Kelly Kowski doing battle with the Springfield winner, Christian Eckes. Only his 2nd time on dirt, and he's running strong once again here today. Natalie Decker with a little difficulty up and out of the groove. She spins out, makes contact with the wall to bring out the caution, and then Sheldon Creed comes down pit road. A 4-tire stop for he and Logan Seavey. Those 2 have been the class of the field here. Halfway through this one, we now have 55 laps complete at DuQuoin. 5 leaders so far with the DuPont Protect Plus mid-race recap. 5 cautions so far, and honestly, I don't think we've seen our last.
No.
With all the wild racing that we've seen here today, I think we're going to see quite a few here in the 2nd half of this race.
We're under caution now, Bob. Natalie Decker actually did another spin in turn number 1. Looks like some more rear body damage on her M29 Capital Partners Toyota, so she brought up the amber flag again, so that's why we're slowed. But now it's a matter of what's going to happen, because Natalie needs to get back out there. She's also fighting for top 10 in the overall points, so this is another critical factor for her, spinning here just moments ago into turn 1 in that machine.
She came into this race 7th in the point standings, the man that sits 6th. Gustine also with trouble. Zane Smith has been down pit road many times, and honestly, Natalie Decker, I was just bragging on her. I just got a text from my buddy Mark Keeler and said, you jinxed her. I think I did, Mark, because she did have a good run up until this point. But still, even though they think it's a broken gauge, now they're going back and putting some more water to the 41.
Yeah, it's a long day for Zane Smith. We talked about how much he needed to gain here. Plenty of time on pit road. Again, he's not lost a lap yet. He's in the contention. He got wide again on that last restart. Why not bring him back down to pit road, cool things down, get that grill cleared? They have multiple setups. It's all legal. get that grille protected, whether it be a screen in front or a recessed screen. Maybe it sticks out 3 inches from the front grille. They elected to go with the chains across a lower grille protector that sticks away from the body panels. Their theory thus far has paid off. I mean, the whole MDM camp has done just this. Get those cars as cool as they can.
How about Travis Braden, Dylan Welch leading this field halfway through?
Right now with where they're at, obviously being out front, and their plan is to stay out the rest of the way. You know, we've had enough caution laps that they can make it to the end now without having to come back in and make a pit stop, which may be a thwart in the plan of Jeff Stankiewicz, who's the crew chief for Sheldon Creed, who is just by monitoring everybody's radio, he's expecting all these guys in front of them right now to have to pit, and that's not the plan down here at the other end of pit road. So it could be exciting as we get down to it here towards the end if these guys are going to start to run out of fuel or run out of tires, even if some of these guys who pitted just a few laps ago are able to run up there and challenge for the win.
Pit strategy games playing out here. I understand what Stanky is saying, the crew chief for the 28. He thinks these guys are going to come down pit road, but as you mentioned, Dylan, Travis Braden, he's a guy that's got to gamble a little bit. He doesn't have that experience here on the dirt track, even though he's leading this race. And this track position strategy could really play out for a guy like Travis Braden, looking for his second career ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards victory. Of course, he won several years ago at the track we're going to next on the schedule, Lucas Oil Raceway, next Friday.
Yeah, it's certainly been a challenge for some of these young racers. Again, getting on the dirt, getting acclimated to that, knowing this was on the schedule, commit to the full schedule. You're going to a lot of different places, and these young drivers are making the adjustments on 2 very distinct Illinois dirt 1-mile racetracks within 2 weeks' time.
We look through the top 10 here, and I see a couple of new names up there. Tommy Vi Jr., 5th in the sportsman point standings at Orange County Fair Speedway up in Middletown, New York. You see him in the number 10 machine here. He's running in the 9th spot here, 58 laps into this one.
Driver this Extreme Cleaner number 10 for Andy Hillenberg, though, he's got a lot of dirt experience. He's currently 5th in points at that Fairgrounds in New York. He has a very strong car, learned a lot at Springfield. And he said, if you could do anything, if I ever get on TV, he led laps earlier already today. So could you please say hi to my wife, Pam? Everybody knows there's Big Mama. Big Mama would love to say, we will know you're watching. Your husband, Tommy's doing a great job thus far, and just his 3rd ARCA start.
And listen, that's what you love about the ARCA Racing Series. It's all about family here. Some of the lower-funded teams, some of the higher-buck teams, they all help each other out. It's like a big family in that pit area. A family until we get down to the latter stages of the race, and then all bets are off.
But what a great program Andy Hillenberg has. He's brought so many drivers to the series, whether it be through his track driving program, the Fast Track High Performance program now, or just drivers that want to get that chance, get that ability. And Sam with Extreme Cleaner said, let's take it to Andy. Let's build this program for something pretty cool going forward.
Let's see if Unzicker gets snookered again by Travis Braden on this restart. A little bit better this time by for Ryan Unzicker, but he's on the outside. If anybody's going to make that outside groove work, it's a guy like Ryan Unzicker with so much talent behind the wheel of a dirt car.
We're also going to see for the first time the patience of Sheldon Creed. We didn't see much of it early on. He's back here in the middle of this nest of 5 cars ahead of him as we head into turn 3 here under green. Braden's got it, but I call him Will Power move here. Will Power with a Kimmel. Kimmels have had dirt experience, but Will Kimmel in that red 69 at the 2nd, he means business. He's got an Elmore engine, one of the older ones, one of the first ones rolled out. He had engine issues at Springfield. They brought this engine to this team and said, you know what, we're going to run this one. We had it set for Salem. We're going to put it in at DuQuoin. This track means too much to us.
Contact between teammates right there. Chase Purdy and the Bama Buggies number 8 and the United Rentals number 28 for Sheldon Creed. Purdy out of the groove, gives up the spot to Sheldon Creed. He tries to march his way through the field. He's back in the top 5. Here comes Riley Herbst as well, and Christian Eckes, all freight training that 8 car for Chase Purdy.
Chase had some dirt experience in karting, but not for a while now. And this young driver who's now committed to racing after graduating high school just last May, getting in this car, getting this opportunity with MDM Motorsports and the Bama Buggies Toyota. He's done a lot of great things this year, learned a ton, but on the dirt, one little nudge gets you out of the groove. Now he's paid the price, 3 spots in about 2 seconds back to his teammate who nudged him out of that position for 5th.
By the way, Chase Purdy did tell me today he's taking a year off, not going to college this year, but he does plan to attend the University of Alabama next year. So he's a Roll Tide guy, and of course Roll Tide did pretty good this weekend in the opening round of college football. Here comes the number 28 to the inside of Unzicker. Unzicker kind of just lets him go just briefly there. And now the yellow flag coming back out onto the racetrack. 62 laps into this one, and I understand it's for debris on the backstretch.
6 caution in the 06 machine may be what the problem is with what we left on the racetrack. Buck Stevens in his ARCA debut for Wayne Peterson Racing.
A lot of good racing here this weekend at the DuQuoin State Fair. Yesterday, Chris Wyndham looking strong again in the USAC Silver Crown Series. And then earlier today, we mentioned Ken Schrader getting it done on the dirt. Let's see how he did it. He had some heavy hitters in this one, including Tony Stewart, his good buddy, in the number 4.
Yeah, Schrader on the pole in the number 9. Federated Auto Parts have 250 guests here, so guess what? Kenny brought his buddy Smoke with him in that number 4 Federated car. He drifted back to 6th or 7th or 8th, did Tony, but then when it came down to money, he's right behind his buddy. Schrader wins, Stewart second here this afternoon in the modified 20-lapper.
6 times now a winner at this racetrack is Ken Schrader, and I asked him when he visited us up in the booth, which was really nice, he and his wife Ann and some friends. Honestly, he said he loves this racetrack and he loves the modifieds, but the modifieds only get to compete on a mile-sized racetrack just like twice a year. Now you see Zane Smith on pit road again, and this is a familiar sight for that Icon Vehicle Dynamics number 41 here. They continue to pour water in that machine to cool it off. Zane Smith in trouble, battling for the championship this year. Welcome back to the General Tire Grabber 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards here at the DuQuoin State Fair. Final day of the fair here in Southern Illinois. And a lot of drama going on midway through this one. 65 laps complete of 100 around this 1-mile dirt racetrack. Second dirt race and last dirt race of the year for the ARCA Racing Series.
So Travis Braden's got a team that won at Springfield in 2015 with AJ Fike, a proven dirt racer, but Dan Glaus has his notes. He's been working hard with this young driver. He's in the Scott rookie chase, but this could be a great position for him. He needs a good, clean restart like he got the last time to grab the lead from Unzicker. A surprise move that paid for him. He will have to sneak up and edge up against Will Kimmel to stay in the middle of the racetrack. He does not want to be down in the light brown. Wants to be in the black once they come off of that final corner and come to the restart line.
And Will Kimmel, I believe, is going to be very aggressive. He's hungry. He has had some trouble. That Fast Fuel Systems team really wants to turn it on. He would love to go after his first ARCA Racing Series win right here on the dirt today of DuQuoin. Let's see if he can lead his 256th lap of competition here in his career when they come by. Next time by, green flag back out here at DuQuoin. Tight quartered racing right there. Look at the battle. Kimmel slipping up a little bit. Sheldon Creed noses underneath him. 3 wide off of turn number 2, heading down the backstretch.
How about 5 wide for a moment there, Bob? Trying to find a lane to race. They've got
battle for the lead. Here we go. Logan Seavey with a bump is going to go by Travis Braden. He made it look easy, just a gentle bump on the 27 of Travis Braden. And Logan Seavey, the USAC midget and Power High midget standout, with a win already to his credit this weekend at Lake Ozark Speedway, going for his second victory of the weekend.
Hit it on lap 29, came out behind the race leader at the time, Sheldon Creed. Hit it again on lap 47, beat Sheldon Creed out of the pits that time. The gauge now will be, if it comes down to a battle of the heavyweights, Ryan Unzicker pitted under the most recent caution for 4 fresh tires. He's got 20 laps newer tires than CV does in this race.
And trouble on the racetrack. Natalie Decker for the 3rd time goes around the young lady, struggling here after spinning out. 68 laps now into this one. We're still green flag racing here, and trouble. Travis Braden hard into the wall.
That's a lot of damage on the 27 machine. They came flying for position, no holds bar racing into turn 1, and Braden has paid the price.
Want to take a look at that one again. Travis Braden has been on a roll here in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. 2 straight top 5s, 7 straight top 10 finishes, has vaulted him to 4th in the point standings, but trouble today for that 24-year-old out of West Virginia.
Rear clip is stuffed in there. Good to see him moving about in the car, and what a big blow for Braden, who again climbed into 5th in the standings. Looking forward to going back on track. He won at last, his first ever ARCA start came at Lucas Oil Raceway. A lot of momentum for his team. Big blow delivered there with one of their best race cars as well. It's a three-man shop. That's a lot of work to be done here to get that car back in working order for the end of the year.
Yeah, and they're just down the road from Lucas Oil Raceway where we go next Friday. That's only 4 days from now. So this team, even though they have multiple cars, this was one of their best race cars, so it's going to be a difficult week for Travis Braden. Now, Natalie Decker was the first person to spin here during this last lap. You saw her go around up there in the corner.
No caution.
She was okay, and then a little bit of contact maybe with the Bama Buggies, number 8 of Chase Purdy and the number 27 of Travis Braden.
Braden climbing out of that car. Wow, what a big blow. Glad to see that young 24-year-old West Virginian climbing out.
Travis Braden, a bad break for that driver here today. We'll be right back to DuQuoin. Under caution for the 7th time in this General Tire Grabber 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. A large hit by Travis Braden. That rear clip demolished on that number 27 to bring out the caution. Let's take a look at what happened here.
We just saw Purdy get a wiggly there. We had not seen that look before. So he had a little wiggly going into turn 1, maybe a little tap on the brakes, got the rear end a bit sideways in a skew, closed down the 27 too quickly, perhaps.
I think you're exactly right. I think Chase Purdy might have tried to slow up a little bit there, got on the binders, got on the brakes a little bit, and wiggled that nose. And when he wiggled that nose from that first shot that we had, great shot to see that he made that contact with the 27 going into the corner. But honestly, I believe Travis Braden was shaken up a little bit after losing that lead with a bump from Logan Seavey. What's your take?
You know, I think that's part of it, Bob, because after his experience at Springfield finishing 4th, a lot of experience. Now he gets here, he's leading the race, gets tapped out of it. What time does it take to get your mental state back in order? A little bit too long for him. And Chase also on his inside had dirt track veteran Kelly Kofsky pushing the issue for that spot too. So they converged. Braden paid the price.
When you come to the DuQuoin State Fair, you can have a lot of fun with some food, some rides, and also the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards here for the 35th time. Logan Seavey leading this one, 73 laps in. We're closing in on 25 laps to go. Travis Braden just bringing out the most recent caution. I'm Bob Dillner, Jim Trado with me in the booth. Dylan Welch doing a great job on pit road as well, getting everything covered, and there's been plenty to cover here today.
And who'd have thought Riley Herbst has found himself on the front row on the restart. Perseverance, tenacity, crew chief leadership by Booty Barker. His spotter, Shannon Rush, brought this young driver his first year to dirt last year. Riley did no better than 16th twice. He is in contention now with the car he said was, quote, awful after practice today.
He did, absolutely. I want to just mention the CGS Imaging 4 Crown Championship as well. The interesting thing is Zane Smith led those points coming in. Right now they're separated by 8 spots on the racetrack. Sheldon Creed currently running in 6th. 14th is Zane Smith. Well, Zane Smith, if Sheldon does not win the race, Zane needs to finish within 9 positions. Right now, he would still have that title.
Zane scored in 12th right now. The point leader, Sheldon Creed, is sitting 5th on this restart. Again, for the overall points, that's how they stack up. But yeah, that CGS Imaging 4 Crown Championship determined here today. 4 races within the series, highlighting the diversity of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
And right away, Logan Seavey to the front, but a very good move by Shannon Rush, who is the spotter, last year's crew chief for the 18. He said, get down to the bottom, just follow that 20 and stay right there. Sideways is Kelly Kofsky coming off the corner, sideways and spinning down the backstretch miraculously. Nobody hits it.
Kofsky was able to do that number of times off of turn number 2. I think there's so many cars running the outside groove. No longer was that a home for an advantage for the Springfield, Illinois racer.
Let's take a look at the replay of what happened to Kofsky. And we've seen him sideways like that, but not like this. Spins right in front of the 24 of Ryan Unzicker and the JBL number 15 for Christian Eckes. Wow, that was close calls for those 2 drivers down the backstretch.
Just a different angle, different approach on how he came across the second corner and just could not find the grip.
Look at that. If you're a spotter, you just say, drive right through it, buddy.
And Zane Smith said, I'm going exit stage left, thank you very much. Way to the bottom. Good job by Zane, because he came upon a lot of dust coming off of that second corner. A lot of dirt in the air flying, and Kovsky able to get it righted as well.
Kovsky was having a great run. Second in the race a couple of years ago, was running fourth at that time, but now very much troublesome efforts for Kelly Kovsky with just 24 laps to go. He's going to restart at the rear of the field and try to come to the front. Dylan?
Well, and to your guys' point about just the little line error there for Kovsky off of 2, that was something that they were on the radio with him, talking him through right before that restart. He's got Grant Enfinger on the box this afternoon, who of course is no slouch on the dirt himself. But Grant was basically coaching Kelly on what to do on that restart and told him the track in 1 and 2 is so line sensitive. You on the inside guardrail or you're going to be in trouble. And we saw Kovsky not be able to do that, and as a result, he got spun around.
Yeah, that's not the first time he's been high and wide off a turn 2 a little bit sideways, but he's able to save it to this point. Again, the track is starting to wear. That groove is widening. There's not as much to bank on as far as moisture up there to run that fine line on the exit of 2 up high.
Yeah, Springfield, we saw about a car and a half of that black groove, and here we see about 2.5 car lengths. But there is Riley Herbst, and you mentioned he said he was absolutely awful, and I love talking to Riley because he's such a good kid, but at the same time, you know, things weren't going well. He was kind of a little bit like Eeyore, not too good, you know, very down, and that team was working tirelessly for Joe Gibbs Racing to get that car repaired. Booty Barker, Shannon Rush, the entire team are really working hard because the car kept on bottoming out in the practice sessions, and it looks like they've raised that front end quite a bit, and it's paid dividends for Riley Herbst. Herbst did not qualify well to his standards, 10th place qualifying effort, currently running in second. So the guy that I think really doesn't like dirt tracks too much is looking a lot better here this time around.
Herbst trying to look at the inside now to get some moisture on those tires. Again, cooling off in the slop is a really good idea. Some guys do it after the race to make weight. I know that. They compound the dirt within the fender wells to make weight when they hit the scale in the infield and dirt tracks around the country. But more importantly for Riley, getting those tires cooled off, because I think this restart will determine where he may finish this race today.
Don't forget, we still have 2 more races on MAV TV with the ARCA Racing Series, the Shore Lunch 200, next Friday night under the lights at Lucas Oil Raceway.
5 days away.
That's right. Not much time for these teams to turn around. And then we'll complete the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge at Salem Speedway in Indiana, that legendary racetrack, the high banks, a lot of hard nose battles right there. September 15th at 7 p.m., another night race. Of course, the ARCA Racing Series completes its season at Kansas Speedway in October.
Okay, asked NASCAR regulars Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe most recently, what tracks would you like to see on a NASCAR schedule? They said Salem without missing a beat. They love that racetrack, and I know you will too. Join us on the 15th for a great short track battle in Indiana at Salem.
So Logan Seavey, Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, your top 3. Christian Eckes in 4th, who won Springfield a couple of weeks ago. Right there in the thick of things once again, but a little different situation for him. He led late in the going and held off people. Here he has to charge hard. Ryan Unzicker in the 5th spot. Will Kimmel still hanging tough in that 69, and the fast diesel fuel systems machine, that sponsor means a lot to that program.
Will only has 8 laps on these tires. He pitted under the most recent caution prior to this one, so lap 71 came down, got 4 tires. Unzicker has fresher tires in that blue 24. He pitted on lap 64, so we're looking at only 15 lap old tires. Keep an eye on the blue and the red cars. I think they're going to make some noise here if they can get to Creed, because he's really got a mission to get to Logan Seavey, so this will be fun to watch.
I think you're absolutely right. I would honestly, look at the 24 car maybe as a little bit stronger than Will Kimmel, especially with his dirt experience. He's going to charge hard right now with that fresh General Tire rubber. Going to be very interesting to see if Unzicker can, go after this win here today. When we go green next time by, 20 laps to go, will be all green. Not going to commercial for the remainder of the show, so you'll be able to see all the racing action here at the DuQuoin State Fair.
Riley Herbst leading Sheldon Creed on the outside. I'll keep my eyes on those 2 cars because Creed made his own groove, bump and run a couple of positions on the most recent restart to get position. So he sits outside row 2 behind. Riley Herbst, just his 4th race on the dirt. Here we go.
Green flag back in the air. They stand on the gas and rocket into turn number 1. Right now, unlike last time, Christian Eckes fills the hole. Riley Herbst drives it a little too hard. Way out up above the groove. He's going to lose a bunch of spots.
Creed went high with him. They lost 4 or 5 positions now.
Christian Eckes now falling back just a little bit. There's Will Kimmel on his back bumper in the number 69. Seavey way out in front of this field already. How about this? Ryan Unzicker looking good with that fresh rubber. He's got the advantage already in second after a lap.
Now the pace will continue. Seavey has run lower than several cars early in this race. We've now got a lot of black rubber being laid down. That's actually race tire rubber being laid down on top of this dirt, taking rubber, they call it, to get that grip. It's going to help the drivers that don't have a lot of experience, but Logan Seavey, I think, has a plan as well.
A little contact between Sheldon Creed in the 28 and Kelly Komsky in the 16. The battle for 7th on the racetrack. So there is Zane Smith. Remember that CGS Imaging 4 Crown Championship. That will be crowned here today on all different disciplines of racetracks that the ARCA Racing Series competes on. Well, right now, Zane Smith just a spot behind Sheldon Creed, so he's sitting in the catbird seat. Here is Ryan Unzicker. Unzicker second right now. That fresh rubber, and he told me earlier today, honestly, they set this car up for late in the going. They set it up very loose in practice, very loose for qualifying. But as this track slicked over, he felt like they would have the drive that they need coming off the corner, and that this car would turn in the center because of how they approached it with Jeff McClure, the crew chief.
It helps to have 45 nights under the belt when it comes to dirt late model racing. That's just in 2018 for Unzicker, who finished 7th in his B at the Dirt Million last weekend.
Buck Stevens in the 06 stops on the racetrack coming off of turn number 2 to bring out the caution once again. So we'll tighten up the field and go back to green flag racing in just a second. Folks, we promised you we will not miss any green flag racing, but right now we're going to step away as we're under caution again here. Just 17 laps to go in this one. Logan Seavey leads Ryan Unzicker and Christian Eckes.
The ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards, has been brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Protect Plus, official licensee for DuPont air filtration products. And by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world.
The stage is set for a dynamic finish here for the ARCA Racing Series in the General Tire Grabber 100 at the DuQuoin State Fair. Ryan Unzicker, the dirt late model hot shot from this region, running second. Let's go to Dylan Welch.
Well, and it's been a great day for him, Bob, obviously, and something right before we get ready to go back green here that they're telling him to try and do. It's something that we hear a lot of in dirt track racing. They're talking about trying to get a lane cleaned off. So obviously the bottom lane right around the guardrail has been their preferred line all day long, especially down into 1 and 2. They wanted Ryan to go up there and kind of buzz his tires and pack in that upper groove, because not unlike what happens on a pavement track, you get marbles kicked up there from the groove that's being raced in, and it can get the car sideways and upset the car when you go through the corner. They wanted Ryan to go up there and just pack that groove in, so when he goes into turn number 1, he's got something to hold on to try and challenge this lead.
And that's that dirt track experience from Ryan Unzicker and that team. They know what they're doing on a dirt track.
And for Logan Seavey, there's no rule he has to go to the apron. He doesn't have to go to the guardrail to maintain his inside line.
True.
He just has to give racing room, which there's about 80 feet to his right if he's on the guardrail. He doesn't have to be that far down.
2 dirt track standouts on the front row for this one. A great restart by Logan Seavey. Christian Eckes putting his nose in there. They made contact. The 24, the 15. Unzicker up and out of the groove is going to spin out in turn number 2. Ryan Unzicker, a heartbreak for him, goes from challenging for the victory here. Contact with the 15, and around he goes to bring out the caution.
And as much as he packed in the outside, he wanted that bottom in the worst way. Eckes kept his nose in it. We are still green flag racing.
Unzicker stopped up there in the corner. We take a look at it. There is the caution. Honestly, the 15 had his nose in there. Unzicker was trying to protect it, came down just a little bit. They made contact, and Unzicker spins out. Both of those drivers driving the way, honestly, you should at this stage of the game, trying to protect their spot. Christian Eckes, the young hotshot, doing his job, and so was Unzicker.
Yeah, it was just a matter of battling for position. Seavey got a great restart. He actually nosed up and said, okay, boys, I've got a clean run. I'm going to get a little wide. I can get in the corner clean ahead of you guys. Unzicker saw at the bottom, tried to go for it, Eckes kept his nose in there. That is exactly what any short tracker would tell you. You need to do it at this point in the race. We're looking at 22 laps in the finish, 12 laps in the finish now. Lap 88 here under caution. Our 10th of the afternoon for that spin, but man, Unzinger's got to be thinking, I was this close again here at DuQuoin. He ran out of tires a couple years ago after leading some races.
And the key thing is, watch this replay here. Look at where the nose is on the 15. He was at the door or to the door on the 24. The general rule of thumb is if you're up to the left rear tire, you have the spot. Unzicker came down a little bit. Christian Eckes didn't back out. Good hard racing. The unfortunate circumstance is, though, that Ryan Unzicker was the victim.
And you want to say what happened to the spotter? Well, guess what? Their tail's away. They're in the middle of the grandstand up there. They cannot see that angle of what is clear, how much that position has at this point in the race or at that point in the racetrack, because they're both taillights from where the spotters are standing. So that really was a matter of Unzicker wanted the spot. Eckes wasn't going to give it to him.
And honestly, I don't know if I would listen to the spotter at that juncture. I'm trying to protect that second spot. I got a shot at the win, my first ARCA win. Part-time competitor is Ryan Unzicker, so no matter what, you know, he was trying to protect that spot in front of a great crowd today at the DuQuoin State Fair.
1963, these fans have been coming since they've started racing the stock cars here. 1983, since ARCA sanctioned. Great to see the crowd supporting this race at this last day of the Southern Illinois State Fair.
1948 was the first automobile race here at this racetrack, and Unzicker trying to get into position here.
Well, it's a matter of lap cars. Lead lap cars. Lead lap cars get to be positioned who didn't pit first, then lead lap cars that pitted. He's trying to get back to the end of the lead lap cars. He did not know the 41 got the lucky dog last time. He was trying to get that spot away.
Green flag in the air. Will Kimmel bolts out to the front. Little confusion for Logan Seavey on that one. Okay, I'm told by ARCA Racing Series officials that Will Kimmel jumped the start. He needs to give it back, and that's indeed what he does. He has some time to do that, so Will Kimmel, the veteran team right there, giving that spot back after he jumped that start on Logan Seavey.
Confusion there as we're trying to get in position. Not a matter of what happens 6 rows back to the leader, but as they come to the line, by rule, the leader, the control car, must restart the race at the line. Each driver is also told stay in your lane through the restart area to the start-finish line. So, indeed, Will Kimmel doing what he was told there. Had a good jump, but a little too good.
I told you Will Kimmel was going to be awfully aggressive on these restarts, and he was right there. Listen, Will Kimmel wants to win here maybe more than anybody. That Kimmel name synonymous with ARCA for so many years, between his dad, who's his crew chief right now, as well as his uncle Frank, the 10-time series champion. Will Kimmel's best finish in ARCA competition came back in 2011 at Salem, their home track, with a second-place run. He would match that today if he's able to hold on to that runner-up spot, but he saw his sights on the win, and he jumped the gun on that restart.
Yeah, 3 top 10s here, including 7th last year for Will Kimmel. So recent history on being in position. That team had a great tire strategy. Everything played well except for that one miscue. And again, Will gave it back. Didn't want to give him a whole lot of time to get to him. We'll have to give that lead back to Logan Seavey, who takes command here as we're winding down, Bob.
Just to update you a little bit on the CGS Imaging 4-Crown Championship, we mentioned that Zane Smith has to finish within 9 spots of Sheldon Creed if Sheldon Creed does not win the race. Right now they are 2 away from each other, with Sheldon Creed running in 4th and Zane Smith currently running in 6th. So Zane Smith would be the 4-Crown champion this year in ARCA. Ryan Unzicker spun after contact, the most recent caution, trying to come back through the field, currently running in 7th.
Yeah, you know, that whole confusion again. It was 13th on the racetrack when we went back to green. Was Zane Smith given that lucky dog? Again, he was in the right position. Unzicker thought he would get one more spot. We went green. Now they're trying to battle out for 6th and 7th. Great advance for both of those drivers. Great recoveries after the day they've had in the 41 pit especially.
Chase Purdy has had a day as well. He's battling with Kelly Komsky for the 8th spot with 7 laps to go. Purdy, that car is pretty bent up on all 4 corners right now, but he's still holding steady in the top 10 right here. Komsky still sideways with that race car. Chase Purdy looking for his 11th top 10 of the season.
And that's how Kelly Komsky's car has been all day. We saw him spin off of turn number 2 with the car a bit too sideways, but he's not one of those straight line guys. He wants to feel that dirt car. It's what he knows. His 13th race here in the DuQuoin, at the DuQuoin racetrack in ARCA competition after many years, most recently many months of physical recovery. Great to see him back in the racetrack.
Natalie Decker running in 11th. Joe Graham Jr. the winner at Berlin 1 week ago, running in that 12th spot. Just in front of them, Joe Cooksey, the independent runner, best finish in his career twice here at DuQuoin, a third-place run. But what did Schrader tell him?
You won third place twice now. And he said, I'm here for one reason. I'm here because Wayne Hickson has given me this chance.
Yes.
He loves racing for Wayne Hickson. He said, can you please say hello to Wayne? He's home. He's not here at the racetrack. I wanted him to be part of this. And Wayne is every bit a part of this because this car has been in Centralia, Illinois with Joe looking after it the last couple of seasons. But he said, without Wayne and his support, I wouldn't be doing this. I love racing the dirt. I love racing with Wayne Hickson.
Wayne is a staple of the ARCA community. Back up front in this field, Logan Seavey. Runner-up at Springfield a couple of weeks ago, and now just a few laps to go, and he could maybe call himself an ARCA Race Series winner.
What he's got to do is keep this car straight, Bob. He's got it right where he wants it. He is working his way.
And just as we are talking about this, we see trouble out from our vantage point here. There's the 28 of the point leader, Sheldon Creed. He will give up a top 5 running spot, which is 4 laps to go here, and currently still under green flag conditions. Trouble for Sheldon Creed.
Creed spun off a turn 2, a long spin off of that corner, righted the car. One more look at it here, Bob, as our race leader from the outset and point leader coming into this one got high in the exit of the second corner, just went around, got way out of the groove.
A lot of trouble right there for Sheldon Creed. Hard to see exactly what happened to him, but we know now that he's lost a bunch of spots and a lap on the racetrack. A couple of laps to go here with Logan Seavey, the 21-year-old California kid trying to win this one. Driving for Venturini Motorsports. Can Venturini Motorsports sweep on the dirt this year in ARCA?
The answer is going to come in about a mile and a half right now, Bob. Logan Seavey on cruise control in the Craftsman Toyota. His second ARCA Racing Series start, but just a young, bright future ahead of this young man who has already won a championship last year in the open wheel ranks, leading the USAC National Midget Points. Power Ride champ a year ago, just came off a victory Friday night, his 4th of the season in that division. He's got a lot going on after that Eldora splash and start in the NASCAR Truck Series, leading those 53 laps in impressive fashion. Now backing it up here, big cars, no problem. Logan Seavey on his way to victory.
Frankie Kimmel spotting for him, the son of the 10-time champion Frank Kimmel. He made it look easy here today. The big win in a midget at Lake Ozark Speedway. And Logan Seavey for Venturini Motorsports is going to get the win here at the DuQuoin State Fair. Venturini Motorsports sweeping on the dirt in 2018 in ARCA.
Will Kimmel second, Riley Herbst third, Springfield winner Christian Eckes fourth, Zane Smith finishes 5th.
An impressive run for that 21-year-old. Logan Seavey, he is going to be a happy camper after the way his day started here. It wasn't good. They blew off the nose on that race car, and now they're going to pull it in victory lane. Logan Seavey is going to stand tall in victory lane today for the General Tire Grabber 100 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. He gets the job done. Second at Springfield 2 weeks ago, and now the winner here at the DuQuoin State Fair. He is going to be quite happy. And look at the shower he's getting. Down to Dylan.
Finished 3rd at Springfield just a few weeks ago. And now he's in victory lane, his first ARCA victory.
Good job, kid.
And Logan, day didn't start off all that great for you. They didn't start off as great probably as you'd have hoped, but able to salvage a win. How'd you do it?
We just, worked. The team just worked so hard on my race car. I was struggling in practice, and I was just complaining, and they just kept working on it, and we got it better for qualifying. And I felt good in the race, and I could pace with the 28. And if you could kind of pace with somebody here, it normally means you're about the same or a little better. And I just needed to get off in front of it on pit road. I was just under every yell. I was like, man, we gotta pit, and we gotta get out in front of the 28. That's the only way we're gonna win. And pit crew is fantastic all day on pit road. Thank you guys. Oh, unbelievable. You know, we passed cars every time, and the winning move was getting by the 28, no doubt. You know, we keep the 28 in front of us, and there's just so hard to pass. So, yeah, like you just said, it's number 50 for Venturini, so it's really special to win, and to win on the dirt's really cool. So I just can't thank TRD and Toyota enough for believing me to come out and do these stock car races. And, you know, they just put me in the best equipment every time. You know, they let me run a truck, and I had the best truck there, and went to Springfield with the best team, and, you know, come here and finally get a win. So this feels really good.
How line sensitive was the racetrack at both ends?
It was really, really line sensitive. You know, it took rubber pretty early, and those last 5 laps, it was the worst I'd ever seen it. You know, you couldn't move more than a couple inches off the bottom, and you know, once I saw a decent lead, I just kind of backed it down and, you know, just took care of my car. I was actually overheating there at the end, and these things start losing power when you overheat, so I was getting nervous, but, you know, luckily it stayed good enough for those last 15 laps or so, and we were able to win.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Logan Seavey is a winner in ARCA.
We're at the DuQuoin State Fair today. Logan Seavey, that was a third-place run at Springfield after running as high as second late in the going. Sheldon Creed had snuck by, but today, Seavey with the win. Will Kimmel ties his best effort in ARCA racing history. Riley Herbst in that third spot, his best run on the dirt. Christian Eckes, the Springfield winner, in fourth, and Zane Smith will clinch the CGS Imaging 4 Crown Championship by virtue after all that trouble with a top 5 run.
The Tenacity Award winner today gives Zane Smith that crown. Ryan Hunziker back to 6th after that late race spin and recovery. Kalikowski spun out of contention 2/3 of the way through. Nice job by Purdy, that rookie spotlight we put on that young kid. He delivered today with an 8th place finish. Great to see Joe Cooksey again. Top 10 at DuQuoin, that's all he does here.
That's another top 10 finish for old Cooksey right there. He's going to be smiling after that one. Sheldon Creed, the point leader, in 10th. Zane Smith finishes 5th. Is that enough? 230 points at the green flag separated them. He gained some spots, but is it enough?
Sheldon led laps today. It's a 20-point chisel. 20-point chisel away at that point lead heading into this Friday night's Lucas Oil Raceway run live on MAP.
Will Kimmel, I'm sure, Dylan, he's got a big old smile on his face. What do you think?
Well, look at this guy. He looked like he running a dirt race today. Had a shot there at the end. That final restart, just take us through your perspective on what happened there.
You know, we've watched so many restarts like that happen in ARCA. It was my turn to take advantage of it. I got a little anxious, but it worked out for us. Big thanks to Longhorn Fab Shop, Manfred and Heather. They stuck with me this year. Same thing, Brad and Tracy from Fast Fuel Systems. Just pretty awesome having type people behind you. Po Boys Barbecue, Laramie Jewelers, Jack's Wax. Everybody that's come on and helped us has been big, and this is big momentum for our team, me and Dad and 2 other guys. So really, really happy with it, and old General Tire held up pretty good today.
Yeah, how big is a run like this for a team like yours?
After the year we've had, everything. You know, we broke at Springfield before we even qualified, and haven't ran like we should at Salem and Chicago and Gateway at all. So just happy to do this and get this out of the way, to go to Salem here with some momentum, with fast on the hood, or on the quarters again, and we got 2 more races with them, and hopefully we can capitalize on this and just keep rolling.
A hard-earned second-place run today for Will Kimmel.
And I think he put it right. The big mo certainly on Will Kimmel's side heading into that big race in the middle of September at his home track, Salem Speedway, where he finished second prior to his second-place run here. He could have a shot at the victory.
And he's put recent laps there as well, not only in the ARCA Racing Series, but in street stocks. He's also helping other teams that race there on a more regular basis. He knows that racetrack very, very well, with his dad, Bill, also a champion in ARCA multiple times over.
Joe Graff Jr., he made a few people mad at Berlin with a couple bump and runs late in the race to get that victory. Here he finishes 11th. Natalie Decker outside the top 10 as well. I think the big thing that we have to look at here in the latter part of the finishing order here is Travis Braden, 4th in points, finishes 15th. Then you have Gus Dean there, 6th in points, coming in 18th. Natalie Decker finishes 12th. She was there in the top 10, so some of the heavy hitters here in ARCA taking big hits here today.
And there's owners' points involved. That's how the championship awards are handed out. So there's a lot of changing. There's a lot of close battles going on in the owners' points, meaning that the car numbers, say the number 20 of Logan Seavey, guess what? They came into this race with a chance of moving up from 8th in the owners' points. They did it today. Looks like they might be even in the top 5 with the victory.
And by the way, son beat dad. Mike Basham beat Daryl Basham, and that's going to be very important. Mike was very proud that he beat dad on every single facet of the racing action here today.
And Dale Shearer was going to start his own number 73. Didn't feel that great, so hope he's feeling better. Put in the super shoe Daryl Basham to get in that race car, who's got over 300 starts and a ton of them here on the dirt in ARCA over many, many years of racing.
Yeah, Daryl Basham, Mr. Fabulous is what it said on the roof of that car. And, of course, Daryl Basham has been very important to the ARCA community for so long.
You know what the great thing about this is? We saw some great racing here today. Dylan Welch has had a lot of fun on pit road. A lot of strategies played out well for a lot of teams.
Dylan, what do you think? Trouble with Dylan Welch's microphone here as he's trying to interview Riley Herbst. We'll get back to him in a second. And there you see some folks enjoying the Ferris wheel. I'm not a big Ferris wheel guy. I get a little, just nervous when they stop it at the top.
That is my speed, though, Bob.
Yeah,
Don't give me the whirly birds where the bottom falls out and you're stuck against the wall with gravity. Nope. Give me the old Ferris wheel.
Folks, if you're watching here today, 2 weeks ago we were at the Illinois State Fair. A lot of fun. Now here at DuQuoin, another state fair in southern Illinois. A bucket list for any racing fan in America. Bring your family out, catch some great racing, but also catch the fair as well. Let's take a look at the Power Stop race recap for this 100-lap race here at DuQuoin today for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Sheldon Creed for the fourth time this year with the General Tire Pole Award. Ryan Unzicker on the outside, but Sheldon Creed, pure domination early on.
He was the class. Building that lead, 3 seconds, 4.5 seconds, and Unzicker staying in second. He said, I don't want to go as fast as Sheldon does, but you know what? If I get the chance, I'm going to run him hard. And indeed, they had some great close racing. Creed wasn't on the bottom much, but when he had that lead to protect, he knew what to do, getting that clean line on the bottom.
No one groove racing here. Logan Seavey boots the 27. Just a little love tap right there to get Braden out of the way, and then contact between Purdy and Braden. Boom! Into the wall goes Travis Braden hard in between turns 1 and 2.
Rough break for Braden, who again had the lead. Kelly Kofsky was involved with a spin here, running in the top 5. Luckily, no one else hit his number 16 car as he righted on that restart. And this was the battle for position. This might have been the battle for who could contend with Seavey. They took it up the racetrack, did the 15 of Eckes and the 24 of Unzicker.
Hard racing between the 24 and the 15 took Ryan Unzicker out of contention. But today it was all about the Craftsman 20 and Logan Seavey, the 21-year-old, with the checkered flag on the dirt at DuQuoin.
And you know what? It may not surprise some to see Venturini Motorsports in victory lane here. We see crew chief Dave Liner on the right, Billy Venturini, his mom Kathy on the left, with the race winner and the junior miss, looks like DuQuoin. Yeah, junior Miss DuQuoin. I like it. She's got the trophy, the crown. But Big Bill's in there as well. This is the 6th time that Venturini Motorsports since 2010 has won on the dirt, going back to Eckes, winning 2 weeks ago. Tom Hessert finally won at DuQuoin in 2016. Steve Arpin. Yeah, that's Steve Arpin. Won on the dirt here in DuQuoin at 2010. Kevin Swindell won after destroying his car in practice at Springfield in 2014. Brennan Poole in 2013. And now we find Logan Seavey adding his name as the 6th driver in the last 18 races to go to victory lane on the dirt for Venturini Motorsports.
And this is really nice to see. Bill Venturini all the way on the left right there, a 2-time ARCA Racing Series champion. He has been so important to ARCA. You remember the all-female pit crew back in the day?
They won a championship in '87.
Absolutely. Yeah. He is the type of guy that ARCA Racing needs, and they need him to continue. And we're just so proud that this team has been able to continue under the leadership of Bill's son, Billy, a former ARCA winner in his own right in his driving days.
6th win on the season this year. You've got Michael Self in victory lane. You've got Chandler Smith in victory lane. You've got a lot of drivers coming to this team. Onesies, twosies. Tony Breidinger had 3 races with this team this year. Leilani Munter, an 8-race schedule this year. This car actually says Vegan Strong underneath the wrap on it. I mean, that's
it does.
This equipment, the Venturini Motorsports gets the most out of their equipment, getting it right, getting the right people in place. They made a big investment in the offseason. MDM Motorsports last year came on late with a big surge, and they proved this year they are going to make people run and get more equipment, fresher equipment, better equipment. And Zane Smith, look at this, getting the award, Bob. Well-earned, 4-crown. CGS Imaging 4-crown champion for the great finishes he's had at the 4 designated tracks, Talladega, Pocono, Madison, Wisconsin, and here on the dirt at DuQuoin. He is our 4-crown champ for 2018.
And that's what's interesting, too. You can see Zane is a little frustrated with today, and I understand that. But this championship he will be able to put on his resume for a long time. And it shows that you are a very good race car driver with all the different disciplines of racetracks represented in those 4 races. And Zane Smith is the only regular on the ARCA Tour to have won one of those 4-crown races.
Yeah, you won at Talladega in a very close race, history-making, closest race ever at Talladega in a stock car period since the Joint Open, and closest finish in ARCA history, beating Joe Graff by, 6 decimal points of 0, and then we got a number in there somewhere.
Make sure you join us next Friday night, or this Friday night, I should say, Lucas Oil Raceway, just outside of Indianapolis. A lot going on in Indy that week. Plenty of open wheel racing, as well as more to come here on MAV TV. Folks, we had a great time here today. The fans waving to their favorite drivers here on the dirt for the 35th time for the ARCA Racing Series, and it was a blast.
Looking forward to more this Friday night, Bob.
So for Dylan Welch, Jim Trado, I'm Bob Dillner, everybody from Lucas Oil Production Studios, we appreciate you watching this live race from DuQuoin here on the dirt, and a big congratulations to Logan Seavey, a first-time winner in ARCA.
MAV TV brings you the live broadcast of the ARCA Racing Series at Lucas Oil Raceway. The pressure is on at the penultimate round of the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge. Zane Smith has dominated the Sioux Chief Series standings, but ARCA Series points leader Sheldon Creed is closing in and looking for a 2018 season sweep. The ARCA Racing Series, September 7th, 9 p.m. Eastern, on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.